Okay, hello and welcome to this week's photography podcast. This is season 2, episode 7. After the absolute carnage that was last week, I'm pleased to announce that we're back to the 6 regulars, so you can all stop moaning at us now. How are we all? We all right?
Cold.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, James.
Yeah, what's wrong, mate? What's wrong?
My boiler's packed in. Packed in last night. Good timing. A few weeks before Christmas. And it's currently, 12.6 Celsius in here. Hence the tea cosy. The missus is having a right freak because she's looking for a cup of tea. She can't have one.
Are you going to have to sell your photography gear to pay for it?
Imagine that. Yeah, nearly. They're not cheap, are they?
No.
Not insured then.
Jesus. 1,500 quid, actually. Isn't bad. Fitted. But
Oh, no, that's not bad at all.
I've heard them more.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
But it's basically 4 days without. I might have to purchase an electric heater.
You got no heat at all, any heating at all, anywhere?
No. Gas fire. So the front room's the only room which is warm.
Right.
It's a nice gas fire. So
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like you're going back to your childhood, though? You remember them mornings when you got up
Yeah.
and there was ice on the inside of the windows?
That's
yeah,
it. And plastic on the inside of the windows if you didn't have the
I'm gonna light a
windows.
candle later as well.
And if you've got a gas fire, at least you can get your tin bath sorted, can't you? So,
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
you should
But
do
I
that.
can't believe you've gone
Wash my
4
hair.
days without heating and you've still
No.
bought an oil-filled radiator for the family.
It's got gas fire.
No, it only packed in last night. What I'm saying is,
Oh, I
it's going
thought
to
you
be
said
4 days until I get the radiator.
Ah, right, okay. All right. I thought that is
I
a
might have to-
Grinch.
Spending money, but
Have you got a tin bath, James?
taking piss.
No, Gary said you had a tin bath.
No, I
Oh, I wish we had a tin bath.
got rid of that 10 years ago.
We have to wash in a bucket.
So did I last night.
It's Monty Python, you see. I've never seen that sketch.
You have to get up before you went to bed and eat gravel.
That's it.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, we had no central heating. We lived out of the sticks. No central heating at all, just an open fire. And I used to wake up every morning in the winter and I could see my breath and the windows were frozen. And I just didn't want to get out of bed because it was so cold. And then we went down the street. I went to get some bread from bakery, bought it back. It was bloody lovely. Thank you.
Must have been a nightmare trying to get all them fingers into ordinary gloves.
Mittens. East Anglians actually invented mittens for that reason.
Lucky bags.
You know I was born in Suffolk, don't you?
Check your fingers.
I've got little fingers. Little fingers.
No, you wasn't born in Suffolk.
I was born in Bury St Edmunds.
Was you?
Yep.
Used to work there.
Yeah.
Nice little quaint place. Near St Albans?
Very
Am I right?
upmarket, that. No. I don't know.
St Albans where?
No. Don't try and do southern geography, James. It's not going to work.
It's got-
St Albans is Hertfordshire, I think.
Yeah, St Albans is Harpenden, St Albans, Boreham Wood, that way. Bury St Edmunds is sort of out your way, isn't it? Ely.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
Yeah, keep going.
It's 300 miles.
Suffolk.
Yeah, other
Keep
side
going.
of Thetford.
Keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It's got lovely gardens, Abbey Gardens, and it's famous for other things as well.
And isn't it named after St Edmund of Bury? Is that right?
That's him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him. He's buried there somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought this week was going to be better than last week, but it's not shaping
Should we
up,
start
is
again?
it?
I'm not starting again.
Well,
That's where you've got the sugar factory at Bury St Edmunds.
That's right. Yeah.
And did you know it was actually Stephen Fry's granddad, who was Hungarian? He came over to work on the major, I think, design or construction of that.
Did he?
So,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
pretty iconic when you drive into Bury.
It
You
is,
see
yeah.
You see it there. It used to be Tate and Lyle. It's now Silver
Yeah.
Spoon, I think.
That's right, yeah. Well, Stephen Fry's granddad had a hell of a lot to do with the construction of that.
Yeah. And it smells lovely when you drive
Oh,
past
it
as
stinks.
Oh, it stinks, doesn't it? Yeah.
well. Okay.
We used to have sugar beet factories in Peterborough.
Yeah,
And
the old
oh
Silver
my
Spoon.
God, they stink. Oh,
I
terrible.
don't know if it still exists, but the Romford breweries. I remember working in Romford once up on a roof, and the smell of that yeast, it literally made me feel sick. I just think
Yeah.
anyone who lived round here with that smell, I couldn't tolerate that. Well, I mean, you might get used to it, but at the time it turned my stomach.
We have horse manure and pig shit. That's pretty.
I don't mind pig
In
shit.
summer. Oh, stench so pungent.
You don't mind pig shit?
Don't mind the smell of that at all. No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Anyway.
You've got Jamie there with 6 fingers, him with a tea cosy on his head, and he likes smelling pig shit.
Yeah.
We're a funny bunch.
Thank God me and you are all right, Dave.
Who says that?
Anyway, should we move on? Can I ask a question? Is anyone playing Whamageddon?
Yes.
Whamageddon.
Yeah.
What's that?
Not again.
All right. So Whamageddon for the uninitiated is when you get to the 1st of December, you got to try and get all the way through until midnight on Christmas Eve without hearing "Last Christmas" by Wham.
Without hearing.
Without
Yeah.
hearing it, right? You can hear cover versions, you can hear remixes, but if you hear the original, you're out.
Right. So will I really ruin it if I get Alexa to play Last Christmas now then?
No, because you can't do it on purpose. You can't do it on purpose. So
Well, our lassie's got a Christmas list set up on Spotify, so I've no chance.
yeah, well, you're in
I
trouble.
have to run out of the room. No, not George!
My boy was out after 5 hours on December 1st. So just after 5 o'clock in the morning, he heard it playing. So he was out straight away.
Well, you know what they did on This Morning, don't you? They went Whamageddon talking about it, and then they played it and went, right, you're all out.
So they just kind of
That's millions.
took out a third of the population.
Yeah. Although
Hang on, it was This Morning. That's knocked about 10,000 people out. That's all.
Yeah, I would claim that was doing it on purpose. So the worst one that happened to me, I got all the way through to about the 17th of December, and then I got knocked out in an Indian restaurant. They were playing it in an Indian restaurant.
But you causing grief again.
Yeah,
Getting
but
into
on the
a
plus
fight.
side, you were having a curry, so happy days.
I was.
Oh, we got a curry tomorrow night. Looking
Yeah,
forward
same
to that.
here.
Oh, dear.
Except I have
love
to
it.
drive out and get it. We can't get them delivered here.
No, I tell you, cook it out of the Pinch and Nom books, mate. I'll tell you what. Has any of you cook out of Pinch and Nom?
Yeah.
Cook out of that from now on. I'll tell you what. I've not had a takeaway Indian for the best part of about 18 months, pretty much all the way through the pandemic. We started cooking out the Pinch and Nom, and we started cooking curries out of there. And I got my first Indian takeaway about 4 weeks ago, and it was nothing like I remembered. It really wasn't. Once you start getting used to all the fresh ingredients and without all that ghee and all that crap that they kind of put into it, honestly, mate.
The thing is, though, that with that book, I heard that it was sort of designed to be, for people that are watching their weight and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
It's healthy cooking. Then I found out that the 2 women that authored it are complete lard asses. They're humongous.
It's the old do as I say, not as I do kind of
Exactly.
thing. But I tell you what, no, I recommend it. Anyone that's watching, Pinch and Nom. That's what you want for Christmas.
All right. So while we're talking about that, I've got a subject we could quickly go on to. What is your guilty pleasure when it comes to food? Something that everyone else is going to look at and go, "Oh my god, that's disgusting," but you like. Everyone's got something. There must be something. I'm going to go get mine now. I'm going to show it to you. Wait there. You chat amongst yourselves.
God,
Find
he's thrown
yourself
that in.
something.
He's thrown that in and walked away.
Yeah,
Have
I'm
we
going
done
now.
this before?
Give us no warning.
He doesn't do mic drops. He does headphone
That's
drops.
a bit worrying because he
Hang on.
said what's her favourite food, and Darren's now pointing at his willy.
Oh, sorry. The light went off behind me.
Sausage.
Oh, guilty pleasure. I tell you what, it's got to be. I suppose. I don't know. Does McDonald's count?
Oh, yeah.
But that's just run of the mill. That's
Cheese.
standard fodder for Gary, though, isn't it? So
Yeah, but I suppose for me, yeah, it would be because if I have a McDonald's now, I do feel a little bit guilty about having it.
A McDonald's.
Yeah, so I think that would be my guilty pleasure now, McDonald's.
That's my staple diet. I've got mine anyway. This is mine. You were talking about what is it, pinch of nom and better than things. This is the best curry you can get, right? There you go.
Oh, man. Curry in a
Lovely.
tin.
That looks like it's on a par with Frey Bentos.
Honestly,
Yeah.
oh no. Do you know what?
Pedigree chum.
Frey Bentos, right? I remember. I said to my wife a while back because she's like quite posh, and I said Frey Bentos. Oh, Frey Bentos steak and kidney pies. Like I said seriously.
I grew up on them.
Yeah, I'm like you've got to learn to appreciate them because they're really nice. I had one about I don't know 3 or 4 months ago. They are rank. Sorry, Frey Bentos, but they are rank.
They are.
Oh, but this on chips, oven chips, chicken jalfrezi.
Oh, I'll tell you,
Often
rather than
chips.
saying guilty pleasures, what food did we kind of grow up on? Because I know my mum, bless her, loved it to bits, but she was like not a good cook. She wasn't adventurous at all. I mean, for me, it was like egg and chips. Do you know what I mean? We had a roast dinner every Sunday, but then it was like kind of egg and chips, and there was a lot of meat and 2 veg. In all fairness, very traditional food, but there was a lot of kind of Frey and Bentos pies and fish paste sandwiches growing up.
I can't participate in this one because my mum watches and I'm too worried about being disinherited.
All right, so
Jay,
does
yeah,
mine.
Jay,
Hello, Dave's mum.
you was saying terrible things about your mum's cooking, Jay. What was you
No, I
saying?
wasn't. Don't drop me in it at all because you know that she watches as well.
I do.
Jay's mum.
Hello there, Mrs. Overland.
My mum was a brilliant cook and still is as well. Whenever I take the lads over to their house for a Sunday roast, and even my wife Leslie, she'll say the same thing. Nobody makes a better Sunday roast than my mum. She just cooks fantastic, absolutely. But I remember cheese and potato pie was a classic of my mum. So she'd mashed potato with grated cheese, and then she'd put roast tomatoes on top, black pepper, and roast it in the oven, and that was just really, really nice. And because we lived on the land, we were growing up with fresh veg and produce all the time. And I used to love marrows. She used to do these marrows, and she'd obviously cut the middle out of the marrows, then put sausage
Stuff
meat
them,
in the middle of these marrows, and then salt, pepper, butter, put them under the oven as well. Oh, they were lovely as well.
So did
Yeah,
you
I was
actually eat
treated.
any of the marrow or just scoop it out, throw it away and fill it with sausages instead?
No, because marrow just takes on whatever flavour you're eating it with, really, doesn't it? Because it's not got much flavour itself. But
I've
yeah,
no
I really
idea. I've
enjoyed
never
it.
had one.
Have you never had a marrow?
No, but
I think
it
I
just the way you described it, it's like we just use the skin as a bowl. But
No,
we
you
eat something
cut
else
the
out.
middle bit out, so you've got the ring of the marrow around the outside, and
Oh,
put
I
the
see.
sausage meat in the
Okay.
middle. So it looks like a bit of a fried egg, and then but it's made of marrow.
I've got an interesting story about that actually. With you talking about cutting a hole in it and putting a sausage in a marrow. When I was in America,
It's not American pie, is it?
when I was in America,
It's a
this guy-
family show.
Meat in your ring.
This guy went into a supermarket. I'll try and keep it as clean as possible. Went into a supermarket, and this is my local supermarket. They were telling me, bought a melon, went under his pickup truck, and then police were called, and he was found underneath his pickup truck making love to the melon.
Was it honeydew melon
Jack can't
or
do it.
Watermelon,
watermelon?
the soft I find.
Oh, watermelon.
Does it matter what sort it was?
I'm just thinking
What
watermelon.
difference does that make?
Well, watermelon, you can kind of understand it. You know what I mean? Sort of kind of honeydew
You get
melon.
that juice oozing.
You know.
Oh, no, he was cheating on her with a cantaloupe.
That's it.
Oh, my watermelon found out about my side cantaloupe.
Anyway, good news is I've got 3 guests to bring on.
Yeah, tell her bye.
No, talking about stuff we used to eat. My nan was, because I live with my nan and granddad. My nan was a really good cake maker, but she wasn't particularly skilled when it came to making dinners. And I remember her eating a lot of Findus crispy pancakes when I was a kid.
Yes.
I used
Yes,
to.
I do.
Yeah,
I know the name. I don't think I've ever had one
Yeah.
I don't even
because
know
of
if
the
they do them
adverts on
anymore.
the telly.
Probably
Yeah.
don't. They're probably banned. Too many
Probably.
E numbers.
Yeah,
Quite disappointing, really, though, weren't they? Because they were all crispy and not a lot of filling.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember Smash? Oh, it's still around, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Remember the
I
adverts?
love Smash.
Do you?
I used to love. I've not had it for ages, but I used to love Smash. Yeah.
Of the
Yeah.
adverts.
There was a lot
My
of cool.
dad used to. My dad loved tripe.
No.
You all had a tripe?
No.
Yeah,
Not a Yorkshire thing, is it?
No,
Basically, it's is it cow's bladder? Cow's stomach?
Cow's stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had salt, vinegar. It's tasteless. Absolutely tasteless and vile, the texture. But he loved it.
There was a lot of
Mike-
corned beef and tomato sandwiches going on in our house.
Oh yeah.
Corned beef hash for me.
Yeah, that was quite popular.
Corned beef hash.
Yeah.
I was trying to think what my granddad used to eat something. It was it not? It wasn't lard, but it was like
Beef dripping.
dripping.
Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
It used to
Same
be
here.
something else as well, which was like fish
That's
eggs.
from the war.
It was fish eggs, but it wasn't caviar. It was like cheap roe, cod's roe. You always used to eat cod's roe and dripping, breaded
What a
dripping.
pillock.
You used to have dripping on toast. Mum and Dad used to have dripping on toast.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, and liver. No, not liver. Liver.
Yeah, we used to have that.
Oh God! I used to cook liver within an inch of its life, so it was like chewing it for the next 4 days. Oh Jesus Christ, liver! Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, though, you struggle to beat this. I had a wife who was the worst cook in the world. She got bread and butter wrong. I kid you not. The butter was a bit hard one day, so she melted it in the microwave, but she left it on too long, so it was liquid, so she just poured it on the bread.
Oh my goodness!
And she actually handed it over as if, there you go. I've done the bread and butter. She was terrible.
Did she have to go, Dave?
Yeah, she did, unfortunately. Got shown the door pretty sharpish.
I remember making a spaghetti bolognese at school, and when I was walking home with it, the lid come open and I accidentally poured half of it onto the pavement. And that was in the 3rd year, and the stain was still there when I was in the 6th year.
Pink. Dulux pink.
It was that bad.
What were you doing cooking in school?
We had to do cooking. We had to
No.
Yeah, we did
Yeah, we had to do
cooking.
home
we had to.
economics.
Home
Ah, you youngsters. There you go. See, we were dealing with lathes and woodworking
Yeah, we
and
did that as
stuff,
well.
and cooking.
At the inside of a chimney.
Yeah, no. And the mines, how to build a successful mine shaft. Oh dear. Shall we talk about some photography, do you think?
Yeah.
It was going quite well. You have to go and ruin it.
All right, let's talk about some photography. What do we think about UFOs? we've had a question in.
As an alternative to a drone, you mean?
Last time Darren was on, he invited all of the viewers to ask a question in the comments. So we got lots of questions. This actually ties in with one that Darren's asked himself in the topics, which was, do you believe in conspiracy theories? And we've had a comment from David Leslie Williams, who asks about what we think about the likelihood of intelligent aliens and UFOs. So I thought, why don't we talk about that? I mean, that's photography related. People sometimes try and take pictures of UFOs. So anyone want to start on that?
I do.
Go on then.
I just believe in UFOs.
You do?
Yeah. Because the term UFO is unidentified flying objects, and there's a lot of unidentified flying objects out there. Don't know whether they're extraterrestrial or not, but, there seems to be a lot of evidence that there's something flying around that people don't know what it is. From a lot of credible people, that's the thing. So you've got your Navy pilots, your American Navy pilots, and if you look at the footage, either it's the government that are not telling them they're doing tests, or it's another government that not doing tests, or there's some other explanation for it. But when you actually watch the footage, there's nothing physically on this planet that can move at those speeds. And it's being picked up by different testing equipment. So it's being picked up by infrared, and it's being picked up by TV or by the cameras and various other thermal imaging. So there's and radar. So somebody's got to explain it somewhere.
Well, I watched a documentary about this not long ago, and they're saying that part of the reason might be that the government, the military, are actually testing new hardware, and they're not telling anyone because they want to see how the current military, i.e., let's say America say they've got the best military in the world, they're testing to see if the best military in the world can do anything to capture or stop their new hardware. So they're not telling anyone about it. And then, because I think I know the one you're talking about, it was like several pilots saw this thing that looked like a Tic Tac sort of shaped object. Well, apparently when that event had happened, very briefly afterwards, 2 suits flew onto the carrier on a helicopter and took all of the data away, and then flew off again. So I think a lot of it. I think a lot of this alien stuff is basically made up to try and cover bits and pieces of testing that different nations are doing. That's what I think.
I saw something once that I can't explain, and whilst I do think that it's likely there is intelligent life somewhere in the universe, because probability dictates there probably is. But I'm not a sort of UFO conspiracy theorist. But I did see something that I can't explain, and it was the weirdest thing. I was lying on a sunbed in the Caribbean after dark. Don't ask why, but I just was. And these 2 lights came along in parallel, almost like the lights on wingtips, as if it was an airplane, right? 35,000 feet. And they carried along straight over my head. I was lying on my back looking upwards. And then they stopped, and the lights immediately just went off in the opposite directions. Just as if they did a right angle and just went like that and disappeared off to the horizon. To this day, I can't explain it. I've got no idea what it was. It was, I've racked my brains to try and work out, well, what could be a reasonable explanation. I never come up with anything.
Where were you again, Dave?
I was in Tobago at the time.
Sells good hash there.
Rum City.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, I got good value out of it. It's addled my brain to this day.
Ayahuasca.
Well, if anybody is interested in astronomy, I can highly recommend it. Only used to be a podcast, and it's called Awesome Astronomy. And now they've got a YouTube channel, and I know these guys very well. There's 3 of them. There's Ralph, Jen, and Paul, and they do this, as I say, this Awesome Astronomy podcast, and there's a huge back catalogue, but they are so good at explaining stuff, everything to kind of do with space. And if you want to learn anything, I would highly recommend kind of going there. But when it comes to UFOs, I'm very sceptical. I think I've said on the Pubcast as well, I would genuinely love to believe. I would love to be out in kind of like, Area 51 and where they all the what they call it, ufologists. They go out there with their chairs and their binoculars, and they all kind of get together and they say what they've spotted. But I'm really sceptical unless I've actually seen something with personally. That's why I find religion kind of such a hard thing to believe. Unless I've actually seen something, then I tend not to believe it, So is there life on other planets? Well, I'm guessing the universe is so big, the chances is going to be great. So I'm going to say yes. I think it's highly likely that there is life on other planets, but for UFOs or aliens, should we say, visiting us, then I think probably not. But UFOs, yeah, because there's lots of things that is unidentified. Doesn't mean a UFO is an alien like what Dave's just seen. So, sorry,
It must
Jay.
be true because it's on Doctor Who, and she flies in a little box and goes to see other planets, and so it's got to be true because I've seen her do it.
Yeah,
She lives
sorry,
down the road
mate.
from us, doesn't she, James?
Forgot all about that.
Halifax, yeah?
Yeah, Doctor Who. No, she lives
Yeah.
Shelley, isn't it?
Halifax, is it? Oh, yeah.
No, Shelley. It's Shelley High School.
No, her
So
name's
it's-
her name's Jodie.
Yeah, Jodie Whittaker.
It's just not Shelley.
No, I know, but she. Yeah, you know who else lives just down the road as well? The Queen from Game of Thrones, Lena Headey.
Oh yeah.
Oh, does she?
She's about
Which
half
one's
an
that?
hour-
Which
half an
Queen?
hour from me. Well, she lived in
so
America.
she-
She lived in America. She's moved
What?
back now. She's moved back to near where her mum and dad lived in Huddersfield.
Which Queen?
Cersei.
Which one?
Queen, Cersei. What's
Oh,
her-
really?
Cersei.
Yeah, the pretty one. Lena Headey.
Was she the Walk of Shame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust you to remember that bit, you dirty bugger.
That wasn't her body.
No.
That was her head. Yeah. That was so clever.
What,
the
they
way
had a
did
stunt
that.
bush?
Yeah.
But she has partaken in nude scenes when she was younger. But obviously she's such a big star now that I don't
I have to borrow that video, Paul.
So yeah, it's on John. It's easy to find.
She used to be on Harry Enfield.
Yeah, he did.
And it
Did
was,
she?
yeah, it was really weird because
Really?
yeah, I remember watching on Game of Thrones because on Harry Enfield she always played like a dumb blonde. It was
Yeah.
like you know the one where the shop was called I've seen you coming, and she
Yeah.
walks in and says, "Oh, I'm looking for something really shabby and expensive." Oh, well, we got this table that we've got to skip the other day. Oh, that'd be perfect. £5,000, all right. Yes, just put it in there. Yeah, she used to be on that, and when I remember watching Game of Thrones, thinking, I recognise her from Harry Enfield. Very strange. Anyway.
She's actually dark haired in real life.
Yeah.
She's not a Bond.
But the scene that you're referring to, Jay, I couldn't believe that when I read that wasn't her body. And as she said, what they done that walk of shame. She was actually walking in front, and the body double was walking behind. So everything that kind of she did, the body double kind of mirrored. But the way that they joined her head onto the body,
Yeah.
I just think, mate, that is absolutely incredible.
I couldn't get past the fact that the nun ringing the bell behind her was Tonya out of Benidorm. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to
Well,
Google that.
she was pregnant at the time.
That's right, yeah.
So I mean, obviously she probably wouldn't have done it anyway. And another interesting fact about her is that her and Bron, who was not Robson Green, the other one, Jerome Flynn.
Jerome.
Yeah, they had a clause in their contract that they would never be on set together
Well, they didn't
because
like
they
each
had a
other.
relationship
Yeah, they didn't
and
like
it
each
all
other,
went
did they?
very
I heard
badly
that.
wrong.
I did hear
So
that.
you never
yeah.
ever saw them together. There's one scene right near the end where they're in the dragon pit, and she hasn't arrived, and he says to someone, "Let's go and get a beer," and they go off, and then she turns up, and it's like they were never on screen together.
Know that.
Oh, yeah.
I read that.
Anyway, what's this got to do with photography?
I don't know.
Or UFOs.
UFOs, Lena Headey.
Moving on, let's talk about something photography related, shall we? We had a question in from. Let me just find it. It was from. Oh Christ, where is
Alan
it? now?
Dunnett.
Alan Dunnett. Sorry, yeah, Alan Dunnett. Who's your favourite, or do you have any favourite non-YouTubing, non-vlogging, and unpublished, i.e., they don't have a book out, photographers, and why? So I'm guessing we're looking at the lesser known ones. So do we want to go through and just give a shout out to some lesser known photographers and sort of maybe shine a bit of a light on their work and say why we like them so much? Jamie, you can go first.
Yeah, no, there's a few. I follow on Twitter quite a few photographers that I take a lot of inspiration from, to be honest. Their work is quite inspiring, and it's always nice when they also like your work. It sort of gives you a little bit of encouragement. But I've made a list of, what I'm like with my list. I've got a nice list here. First one I've got is a guy called Matt Oliver, who does some Peak District woodland photography. I really like his work. That's my first on the list. Another one from Norway, Dag Ollie Nordhog, I think that's how you say his name.
Oh, yeah.
Really like his work. Really, really nice work. And that's not just woodland, that's just all types of landscape work, but he's very talented.
His images, though, some of his images look too good to be true. They're so good. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? If
well,
it's the same one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he obviously puts some effort into processing as well.
Yeah, they're
looks of it.
unbelievable photos.
Very impactful. Yeah, but not to the point of being unrealistic, I don't think.
No,
if you
not
edit
unrealistic.
everything
No,
that way.
yeah, not unrealistic. Just very, very, very good.
Martin Burks is another on my list. I follow him. He's talented photography. Lee Dorey, of course, I've mentioned him before. Very talented. Dale Sutherland Roberts is another on my list. And the final one is a I don't know if this is their real name, but they come on Twitter as Dew Droplets.
Yes.
D-U-W Droplets. Some really interesting
Follow
work that they
Sorry,
post.
did you say I don't know whether that's their real name or not?
Well, it could be. I don't know. It might be their
Is she
name.
a wrestler?
I was joking, of course. No, but whoever they are, really interesting work. A whole mixture of landscape stuff. Some quite abstract. Their processing is they've got a very unique style, but it's always enjoyable to look at, definitely. So Yeah, they're my recommendations, and I think we get nice if we can leave a link to these people below. Give them a bit of a call out.
I will. I definitely will. What about you, James?
Well, I think
All right, James.
I think Jamie's just. I think Jamie's just mentioned half of them. I've just looked down my Twitter. Who I follow. We've got Lisa, Julie, Boris Johnson, Donald Trump. No, I think Lee Dory definitely. I'm struggling actually.
Well, while you're looking,
Sean
James,
Mills, like him. James Lane. Oh, he's just released a book, isn't he? But the thing about James Lane, he's only been a photographer about 3 years, but his work is excellent, quite minimalistic. He's just returned from Scottish Highlands, I believe. It's quite abstract stuff. So I quite like him. But keep going, moving on to someone else. Go on. Whilst I have a look.
Darren, you were going to say something there, mate.
yeah. Paul, who did you used to do the photo nerds with?
Gary Goff and Adam Carnach.
Gary Goff, right. So this photographer, I know he's published, right, but I'm going to give him a shout out anyway. He was on with Gary Goff, and I hope I'm going to pronounce his name right now because I haven't got my glasses anyway. He's a wildlife photographer, Gurcharan Rupra. And if you go onto Instagram or search for him, I know he's published, but his wildlife photography is to the next level. And
He's
even
got a
if-
channel, has he not? Has he not a big YouTube channel?
I've never seen him with a chat. No, well, when Gary
Who's the one
was
that Tom Heaton introduced? Sorry.
oh no, that
That's,
was
Morton Hart.
yeah.
Morton.
Yeah.
Adams.
No, this-
worked with him as well.
When do you remember this interview, Paul?
No.
That Gary, oh right. Well, when Gary interviewed him, he said like I can't concentrate on photography, videoing, and trying to take these photos.
Yeah.
And he sets his cameras up in obviously like little small cages and things like that, and and waits for the lions to get really close, and he's kind of got a technique where he will take a photo just seconds before he actually wants like the real photo to be taken. So as a lion kind of comes towards the photo and like bends down, he will take a photo so the shutter clicks and then almost startles the animal, and it's the second photo. It's that startled look that he's after. And he takes a lot of black and white, and some of his photos are fairly abstract as well, James. So you'd kind of quite like him. But yeah, that guy there, and I'll send you the link, Gal. But
He's on Twitter there?
Yeah. No, he's on. Well, I don't know if he's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. Yeah.
I remember watching the interview that Gary did with him, and I saw some of his images.
Different gravy. Different
very,
gravy.
very good. Yeah.
And
And I remember you talking about him talking about the cage. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he design the cage? He actually designed all of it, didn't he, for the camera? I'm sure.
I can't remember.
I think he
can't
did.
remember
I
that
think he did.
segment, but
I could be wrong.
yeah,
I think he did.
really interesting.
Dave, what about you, mate? What have you got?
Well,
Have you got any more? Sorry, have you got any more, Darren, or is it just?
No, that's the one that when I was quickly scrolling through, that's the one that jumped out on me.
Okay, sorry, Dave. Yeah, go on, mate.
Well, I still think it's difficult because if they're not published and they're not putting their stuff out there, how are you going to find out about them? But I just found out now that Verity's got a book out apparently. But I really like Verity Milligan's stuff.
Yeah.
And frankly, I wouldn't say, oh, well, I can't possibly look just because she's got a book out. All my favourites are out there. I must admit, a guy that used to do a bit of vlogging but kind of packed it in, that I really like his photography, is Mark Mcneal. And you couldn't wish to meet a nicer bloke either.
He is a lovely, lovely guy, Mark.
Yeah,
really is.
exactly. He's well worth a shout out, I think. I think he's underrated. Very, very clever guy when it comes to his landscape work. But yeah, that's about it for me. I'm afraid everybody else who I would name are reasonably well known, or at least published, recognised, that sort of thing.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, everything Jay said. I mean, Matt Oliver, I think he's great, and Lee Dorey. But two that haven't been mentioned. No one is a guy called Dave Pearce, who's a Welsh fella. Sure, he's Welsh. He knows Gareth Danks really well.
Yeah.
Does a lot of black and white stuff. He is really inspirational for me because I just love black and white images anyway. And he takes excellent images of coastlines in black and white, landscapes in black and white, and industrial areas. He's also done a lot of New York shooting, Brooklyn Bridge and that type of thing. I know some of those could be cliche, but when you look at his stuff, it's pretty special. And then also Andrew Gray, who did a video with Tom Eaton and does the is it LCM?
RCM.
And his images look like J.W.M. Turner's images, and the artist is inspirational for me. And Andrew Gray's stuff is also inspirational, and to the point that it's something that I really want to do and not got around to doing yet. So it's people that inspire me that I love.
Actually, you've just reminded me of someone there that I really should have mentioned as a Welsh photographer, Gareth Mon Jones. Not too far away from me, and he shoots pretty much the same sort of neck of the woods that I do, but my God, he's a million times better than I am. One of my all-time favourite images of Crib Goch on Snowdon is one of his. And he puts his stuff on social media, but he's not on YouTube, and I don't think he's published. But a great photographer, and recognised in sort of the photography press for the quality of his work.
What platform is he on, Dave? What social media platform is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
Was he the one who did the South Stack with the Milky Way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the sort of stuff he does, and things like the bioluminescence at Penmon, and I actually prefer his mountain work to his coastal stuff to some degree, because I know what he goes through to get those images.
Yeah,
he's hauling top quality gear up onto some inhospitable places in some inhospitable conditions, but coming home with amazing images. So hats off to him.
I was going to say Andy Gray does have a YouTube channel, Paul, but it's a very good one. Andy Gray.
Does he?
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
But it's a very good one. And if anyone's interested, I know he does these Tuesday night edits, which are live, and they're well worth a watch because he actually goes through his whole editing process.
You know what?
For some of his
senior
videos.
moment, because I've actually watched a couple of his videos.
Yeah,
but it was a while ago. Is after he was on with Tom Eaton.
Yeah.
I've had a drink since then. But yeah. So sorry, but I mean, it's people who watch it may have not seen him. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I've got a few names from Twitter. Diane Vose. I know she watches, but I think her stuff's excellent on Twitter. There's a guy called Amar Sood. I think he's around my neck of the woods, actually, because I see a lot of his from Ramamere Heath and sort of that.
Does he enter a lot of the WEX competitions?
Yeah.
And, he's a very good photographer.
Yeah,
very good.
He's excellent. Sarah Longes, have you heard of her? I think she's Mirador Design on Twitter. She's very good photographer. Does a lot of wildlife stuff. So she's very good. And when you were talking about Dave Pearce, I was thinking about JP Appleton. He's an excellent photographer. I'm not sure if he's based in Norfolk or East Anglia, but he's got some really good shots from that area.
He's done a lot of that Norfolk coastline, hasn't he? He does really the minimalistic fine artwork, doesn't he?
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff.
Yeah. That's very good. And then I got two from Instagram. There's a guy called Martin Evans. Has any of you heard of Martin Evans?
Is that
ME photography? Yeah.
ME photographer.
Yeah. Alan Cole's put me onto him. He's brilliant. He's really his processing is fantastic. Very sort of woodland and sort of waterfall based photographer, but very good. And one more. There's a guy called Photography Ghost on Instagram. He's a street photographer, and I really like his stuff as well. So that's my list. But the thing is, I think maybe the message from this is for people. It's not just not just the big names, and not just because someone is on YouTube doesn't mean that they're, you know, any better a photographer than the thousands of people that are out there.
Well, usually better.
Yeah, they are usually better, and there's some really good photographers out there who just don't bother pushing, you know, trying to push all of their social media towards getting views and likes and whatever. They just go out and have fun and take shots. So, you know, if you don't, I would really recommend you to go on Twitter and just start following a few photographers, and then suddenly so many more open up.
Yeah.
You mentioned Martin Burks, Jay.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
He's on
I
my
think we should also say, if anybody else is watching has got their own recommendations, then put them in the comments below, because it's great to call out people that everybody, you know, gets inspiration from, because everybody else can then get inspiration. So
We were talking about social media, weren't we, last week? And, you know, a lot of people diss social media, but that's one of the things that I love about Instagram. And I know people moan that, you know, it's not good for photography and it ruins compositions and stuff, but I get a lot of inspiration from Instagram.
So, yeah,
I
love
of
Instagram.
Purely because there are some stunning photographers out there that are a lot better than I am, and a lot better, as you say, a lot of YouTubers. Because maybe because, as we said last week again, they're concentrating on their art rather than trying to do a video and take pictures. As you were saying, Dave, you know, it's hard work to get an image and also video, and sometimes your art and your passion can suffer a bit. Yeah.
One other shout out, we talk about Instagram. Helen Trust, I think I introduced you to a lot of you here. Very minimal. And she shoots for Instagram because all her crops are square. One. Right. Really good. Helen Trust.
I think actually it's a really important thing to say that we spend a lot of time moaning about social media on the podcast.
You do, Gary.
Well, no, we all do to a point. Well, I spend a lot of time moaning about social media on the podcast.
You spend a lot of time moaning.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is if you can all shut up a minute. No, what I'm trying to say is if you cut through the negative sort of the toxicity and the negativity, actually social media can be quite a beautiful place. It really can. I mean, I was just saying offline, I've muted a couple of key phrases from my Twitter feed over the last few days.
Is it 3 initials?
What key phrases would those be then, Gary?
Would you like me to tell you? I don't mind.
November Foxtrot Tango.
NFT, NFT and GM. And literally...
so you don't see my posts then now?
Fortunately not. Once I've muted those, it's a much nicer place. It really is.
I bet it is.
And it's a pleasure, actually, to look at my Twitter feed now.
And you talk about .eth as well.
Have you got topics, photography topics? Because the NFT creeps in. I've noticed.
Well, I mean, we've let's be honest, we've skirted around it, but we've never ever really talked about NFTs, and maybe now is a good time to talk.
Yeah, but in the summer break, you kept saying, "Oh, that'll be a hot topic for season 2, episode 1." I was all geared up for it, and then we got canned. All my homework was wasted.
Well, feel free to start now.
How long we got?
I didn't do any really. I've got no idea.
No.
What? Come on. Let everyone else has had their say on it, right? Everyone else has got their opinion on it. Everyone else has had their arguments over it. There's a balance to it, to talking about NFTs, but why don't we actually have a conversation about it? Because we all care about it to a point. We've all got an opinion on it because we've spoke about it several times to each other. So, you know, I mean, we must have an opinion on it.
For me, it just seems like it's a separate movement in a way. I just wish Twitter was split in half, the NFT and the non-NFT. That's all it is for me. It's like another culture, the language. I don't mind if the environmental impacts, if you believe that. I'm sure it does have an environmental impact, absolutely, but it's still continuing. It's going to grow and grow, and it's going to include gaming. It's going to include a lot of things. You know, if it's really that bad, will it not be allowed to continue? That's my beliefs. But for me, it's just another subculture, and it's not going to follow. It's very American, stoked and cowabunga language. It just turns me off.
It was funny. I read. I can't remember who the original poster was on Twitter the other day. And I can't even really remember what the actual post said to made me click on it, but I did, like all the comment sections. And there was loads of people kind of in the comment section saying, oh, you know, I'm feeling quite low because I've not sold a single print, and not print, but I've not sold a single image, and it was all in that vein, kind of tumbling down. So it's like anything, you know, like when you hear of a gambler, most gamblers only tell you about the races that they've won, you know, not the losses that they've stacked up. But I reckon there's a lot more people that have lost trying to sell NFTs than people that have actually won.
I remember the initial rush when it first came out, and a lot of people were trying to get on board with it. I think someone in here is trying to get on board with it. I'm not sure about that. Dave, did you continue with that or no? Okay. But since then, I think it's tumbled down. There doesn't seem to be as much interest in it.
Wasn't it Neil that sparked the main interest because he had some initial
because he had a lot of success, and then everyone's
I think the thing is though, you know, you look at Neil, and he's a brilliant photographer. Always rated him. Always, I've got a lot of time for him as a person. I've always rated his photography, but when Neil started putting stuff up, he was very early on. He was an early adopter, and he was there before most people. And he sold an awful lot of money very quickly, which really surprised him. But the thing is, who bought his stuff? Who bought Neil's stuff?
The investors to increase the value.
It was the person who invented the currency.
Yeah,
right.
I did.
So what are you going to do? Oh, I tell you what. If I want to make a load of money, I'll go and buy up one of the most well-known Twitter photographers, I would say, Neil Burnell. Got a huge following, got very well respected, won lots of competitions, won lots of awards, internationally acclaimed. I'll buy up a load of his stuff, so then everyone goes, oh my God, this could make us a fortune. Look at it, everyone's buying it. And then they all go, and what? You got to pay to mint, you got to pay to list, you have to pay to delete. You have to pay when you sell. You have to pay when you don't sell. So the best way to make money, if you're the inventor of the currency and you want the currency to go through the roof, is to have a rush on it where everyone's going, shit, look at this. This is amazing. We can make loads of money. Let's all get involved. Let's all spend loads of money. Let's all plough money into Ethereum. Oh, suddenly who's making all the money out of it? The guy who's bought up the stuff in the first place. It's just, what is it? What are they called? Ponzi schemes? You know, it's just, that's all it is.
I think, though, to be fair, to some degree, we run the risk of being slightly blinkered because we're seeing it very much from the perspective of the photography world. And it's much bigger than that. It's absolutely
agreed.
colossal.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So that, you know, there are lots of people out there creating NFTs and people buying them. It's nothing to do with our little corner of the landscape photography world. For me, I think that the people buying it are victims of the emperor's new clothes. You know, it's like the Dutch tulip bubble when back in the 17 whatevers when people were buying Dutch tulip bulbs because it was the thing to buy, and then all of a sudden they were worth tuppence halfpenny. I think that, you know, it's a standard bubble that the people that jump on board and spend their money on it and see it as an investment are going to find out pretty quickly it's a pretty miserable one.
Well, some will. Some will be winners from it.
Yeah. I think the early people will. You know,
Yeah.
I remember back in the 80s.
No, you're talking about the early sellers, though, the early creators. I'm
Yes.
talking about the people that are parting with it so that they then own a piece of blockchain. They'll find out very quickly that bit of blockchain suddenly is worth a tiny fraction of what they paid for it.
Are you talking about crypto in general, or are you talking about?
No,
NFTs?
I'm talking about NFTs, but
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about it wider than just photography.
Yes, of course.
You know, I've had direct experience working with people who are selling stuff like that, and knowing the type of people that are buying it.
Yeah.
You look at them and think, oh, I can't wait for it to be worth tuppence halfpenny if only I was a fly on your wall.
Yeah. I mean, if we're all old enough to remember back in the 80s, do you remember everybody started selling water filters?
Yes.
So that was a pyramid scheme
Yeah.
that went round, and my dad, a lot of his friends got into it, and we're talking intelligent people, doctors and surgeons and stuff like that, and they all ended up with garages full of water filters,
Yeah, I remember.
literally full of water filters, and they tried to get my dad on board. My dad says, "Oh, I know nothing about selling," and then 3 years later he'd speak to him and say, "How's the water filters?" He said, "I've got a bloody garage full of them." There's like about 10 of them. Same thing. Somebody's going to end up holding the can, so to speak, and unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of losers in it. That's my personal opinion.
Has
But
ETH
then-
dropped significantly now? Then?
well, no,
the value
you see,
It's
the
not
thing
about
is-
the currency though. It's about
No.
the value of the
NFTs.
of the item.
Yeah.
You know, they're being bought at ludicrous prices because of that initial. Everybody's got to get on board,
That's right.
and fundamentally they're entirely valueless.
I mean, you can get the same image on a JPEG off Google. That I've had this discussion with various photographers and you guys off here, and I've still nobody's able to answer the question: is what are you actually buying?
You're not buying a JPEG. You're not
no.
buying a product. You're buying
No,
a blockchain, aren't you?
yeah,
A
absolutely.
URL.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just don't get it. I can't hang it on my wall. You know,
No, well, quite, and yet the people that are, you know, outside of those people that are artificially inflating the market for nefarious purposes.
That's right.
There are plenty of people out there who are buying NFT artwork for the sake of buying it because they've been to a nice upper middle class dinner party and been told, oh, you really must buy one.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
as I say, I think that it's the classic emperor's new clothes. At some point, a 5-year-old boy will point at them and go, what the bloody hell's that? He's naked.
yeah.
So
yeah.
do you think people that buy NFTs purely buy it for an investment, or do you think they buy it for the photo?
The former.
Yeah.
Completely the
investment.
former. If you want a
That's what
photo,
I-
you
that-
buy a photo.
The print.
Exactly.
But
That's
the thing
that's
is if you're going to buy a piece of art, so you know, I don't know. We mentioned Turner, so if you go buy a Turner, I'm going to put a Turner on my wall, and it's one Turner, and that's all it's going to be. And so that's the inherent value in the piece of art as an investment point of view. Nobody's going to paint another Turner because he's been dead for 200 years. But what I can't understand is with an NFT, it's, you know, some people are doing a picture of Scooby-Doo and putting it on, and people are buying it. And as an investment point of view, it makes no sense whatsoever. The only rationale that I heard, and it was Adam Carnage that said this, is that maybe it's people that have just got so much Ethereum or so much Bitcoin that they made so much money out of it that they don't
can
know
afford to lose.
Yeah, they can afford. Well, they're not even losing, are they? I mean, they're just buying it because for the fun of it, for something to do. Because you know, where's the tangible asset in what they're buying? There isn't. It's ones and zeros on a computer, and it's ones and zeros on a computer that if I Google, I don't know, Neil Burnell, no, not having a go at Neil, I can get his image, that JPEG up, and put it as a screensaver on me off his gallery. You know, if I wanted to. So what's the difference?
taking that aside, then let's talk about the buyers out of the equation. Let's just talk about the sellers now. So, do you know how much it costs from starting to finish? You know, so if I wanted to sell an NFT, do I need to pay someone to actually then display my photo, and then do I have to pay them a commission?
The gas price.
I read a blog. I've read a couple of blogs, and it was about it cost the guy to exhibit 3 pieces, cost him about $1,000. And by the time, and by the time he got he'd done everything. And then, obviously, with Ethereum, you've got to pay a gas fee on top at the end of it.
What's a gas fee? Sorry.
Yeah, maybe Dave knows more about it than I do. No, I do invest in crypto, so but I don't know the ins and outs of Ethereum. But is it when you sell it, you have to pay a certain amount of money, or you convert it? I don't know. But he was out of pocket, let's put it that way, even when he sold stuff, because he wasn't selling it for the Neil Burnell prices. You know, he was getting 0.01 or 0.01 of an ETH. This is what worries me, is that people have gone into it and there's loads of communities and they're all buying each other's pieces to try and bump up their popularity. But at the end of the day, I think it's the people that are actually putting this stuff on that are more likely to lose the shirt than the muppet who's buying it at 5 ETH. I think the person buying it at 5 ETH is either doing it to try and stoke the fire or has got more money than sense. It's the poor saps that are putting the money in that maybe are going to miss losing it. It's the people in the front end.
It's the ones who have jumped on the bandwagon because they could see a sale and will never make a sale.
No.
And they'll put
like
their stuff
the water filters.
Yeah, and they'll put their stuff on there and they'll pay, like you say, they'll pay to mint it, they'll pay to exhibit it, they'll pay to get rid of it. You know, I would imagine that once you're tied into exhibiting it, you've got to pay a fee, probably an ongoing fee. And then if you go, oh my God, hang on a minute. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but hang on a minute, I want to get rid of this. You then got to pay a fee to get rid of it. And if they never make a sale, they could be lots of money down.
Yeah, but on the plus side, you don't have to rent a lock-up garage to store them in.
No. I mean, I think there are early implementers with everything that will have made money on it. But I think the majority of people, 99.9% of people, will have not done, because that's the only way I can see the whole thing. The reason the whole thing's being generated, because I don't see what the tangible asset is. You know, if you're going to buy something, you buy something because you either love it. It's relatively unique. So if I bought a print from one of you guys and put it on my wall, I've got one of your prints. And I'll have that until the day I die. But
that's what made me ask, why do people buy this? Is it purely an investment or because they like the photo? Because for me, speaking as a bit of a dinosaur here and still, not kind of getting on board with it all, and I don't want to sound like negative or coming across as a bit of a hater for NFTs, but for me, I can't think of anything worse than looking at a JPEG. If I wanted to invest my money in something, I would be investing it in something else, not an NFT, not in a JPEG. I might be missing everything here.
I don't think you are.
A lot of people might be screaming at me saying, "Oh, you don't quite understand." Well, I don't understand. But if I wanted a piece of art like you, Paul, I want something that I can hang on my wall and look at it every day, and hopefully that will go up in value. But I wouldn't be buying it for that. I'd be buying a piece of art because I generally enjoyed that piece of art on my wall.
I'm not hating on NFTs either. I think if people are making money out of it, and I've missed how they're making the money out of it, I think that's absolutely awesome. I think it's brilliant. My concern is as I say, that there are people that are going to be gullible and they're going to put money into it and are going to lose out. Now that happens across the board. That happens with stocks and shares. That happens with cryptocurrency. It's happening at the moment. The cryptocurrency markets are being manipulated massively by people, big players that are loving the massive fluctations in crypto, and people are losing the shirts in crypto because they're leveraging. So they're borrowing money to try and make a profit, and they're losing money. But that's been happening in the stock market for hundreds of years. So, but the other thing about NFTs, though, and this is possibly contentious, and I'd love everybody's opinion, is obviously people talk about the environmental issues of NFTs, and maybe how does that fit if you're a photographer that loves the landscape and everybody's bleating on about the fact that NFTs are very ecologically damaging. Now, James, I know you said whether you believe it or not. I struggle to actually rationalise that as well, whether or not it is as environmentally damaging as people are saying, or whether or not it is propaganda by the big governments because they're scared of crypto in general. But I just wonder whether you guys have got any thoughts on that.
I think we're all, you walk out the door, you get in your car, you go anywhere. You're not being particularly friendly to the environment. So I don't really buy the whole NFTs are terribly bad for the environment thing, because we're all terrible. Just being alive, we're terribly bad for the environment. It's just how it is. You're not going to change that. We can try, we can do things to help, but regardless, we're all going to be bad for the environment as such. So I don't really buy into that. My worry. Well, I'll let you guys talk about the environment for a sec, but my worry is much more of a human worry. So you guys talk about the environment if you want, and then we'll come back to that. Anybody?
What?
Well, I was going to say my worry about NFTs is more of an observation than rather than the actual NFTs. I don't want to hijack Paul's question. You see.
Well,
That's what I was saying.
did you see the tumbleweed?
Yeah, I don't think anyone has much to comment on.
They're not interested, or they could give a damn.
I personally don't understand the whole thing, which is why I'm not contributing much to this, if I'm honest. And that's because I don't really want to. It doesn't interest me, if I'm honest. You know, it's just one of those things that go. I've seen all of the stuff on Twitter. I've seen the divide that it seems to create
Exactly.
on Twitter.
There's a division, like I was saying.
There is, between photographers. I don't like all the mutual backslapping stuff going on and all the rest of it. It just doesn't interest me at all. And hence why I haven't got much to say on it, because it doesn't really interest me. And if I'm honest, I don't understand it, and I don't really want to understand it. It's not affecting my life. So
this was my
Sorry,
worry.
can I just quickly jump in, Gal? And I think, look, exactly what Jamie's just said, and I think Dave mentioned the Emperor's New Clothes. I've got a foot in Dave's camp, and I've got a foot in Jay's camp. And that's why I don't take too much notice of it, because I almost feel that I don't really want to take a lot of notice of this, because it could just be the Emperor's New Clothes. But then I think if you look into it too much, you can almost start convincing yourself that, this is something that I really need to do, when you should go with your gut instinct. And my gut instinct is stay away from this.
Me too.
You know, but again, that's just my personal opinion, not the views of the management by any stretch of the imagination.
I invested quite a considerable amount of money in an internet service provider when they first came out. Remember FreeServe, one of the first internet, and they were selling shares. Well, it wasn't them we invested in, but it was somebody in that time. And I invested in that, and of course the bubble burst and lost the whole bloody lot. So I've been burnt in that type of investment scenario. So hence I'm not getting involved again.
Well, my biggest thing, which is what I was going to come on to, is look, if people want to sell NFTs, if people want to buy NFTs, if people want to trade in NFTs, if they want to mint them or gas them or shill them or whatever bloody words you use, fine, go for it. But my biggest concern is I've watched Twitter become completely polarised, and I've watched so many people that I actually used to quite like become something that I don't like anymore. And it all used to be about the photography. People used to come on and show their images purely for the art, for the photography. And now such a large number of people who I respected come on and just show their images with a GM. You know, I'm selling this for 4 ETH or ETH or whatever it is, and check out my work on OpenSea and please do this and check out this guy's monkey and all that sort of crap. And I'm not interested in any of that. And it's like, it's really sad that people who I had respect, and watching the bun fight to get an OpenSea invitation when that first came out, it was just
funny.
it brought funny. But you look at those people and think, you're not who I thought you were. Absolutely, you are not who I thought. I thought you were artists, and you are literally just trying to make money. That's it. There is no art.
I think what was interesting with that was the people that didn't enter the bum fight, and there were certain people that I had respect for anyway, and my respect went up 1,000% because they didn't enter into that whole thing. And I've had discussion with people off camera about that. Or off social media, that there are some very principled photographers out there that not them saying the people that the bum fight was pathetic, to be honest. But people want to make a living, and if you thought to yourself, well, I could make £500,000 if somebody invites me to OpenSea or whatever it is, maybe you can see the reason why.
Yeah, but I just think yes, but then would I want to change my entire ethos, persona, change myself as a person to make £500,000?
Would you though?
No.
If I said to you, right, I'm going to give you £500,000 if for the next year on Twitter you put .eth and start pumping a thing, I'll sign the contract to you tomorrow. Would you do it? Because I would.
I don't think I would. No.
Yeah, I would.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Why would you change though, Gary? I don't understand. You wouldn't change as a human
I'd
being,
just call
would you?
it Paul G. Johnson Limited, and
People have
think there's
changed.
£500,000.
I don't think people have changed.
Well, no, maybe they haven't changed. Are you all right, Darren?
Sorry.
Are you looking into NFTs?
No. So I thought my audio had, God, I can't even see nothing now. I thought my audio had stopped recording because everything just went blank.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, oh, crikey, if I don't try and fix this now, you're going to be shouting at me later on tonight. So I think...
Okay.
I thought you were minting your first NFT there on the slide.
That's what it looked like.
You just had a bit of gas.
Sorry.
That's all
Now what have I done? Oh, my goodness.
Well
I'm having a
stoked. Gone stoked
a
that
right
fight.
kerfuffle.
Shall we move on then, very quickly? Let's. I mean, we're actually indulging ourselves now, by the way, because we've been told that anything over an hour is self-indulgent. So
Yeah.
Who said that then, just out of interest?
Who
I
said
don't know.
that?
Someone in the comments. They said that they were just giving us some advice, probably from their years of experience. Anyway,
Doing podcasts.
So something to ignore.
We love that type of advice.
Don't tell me they do the photography wine bar cast.
yes, possibly.
So when they go down the pub with their mates, do they kind of just keep looking at the watch and say, oh, 59 minutes, we have to go now?
Yeah, don't want to be too self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about another question that we had from the viewers, and this one's from Jonathan Crodock. And I want to start on this, and I'll be very brief, and then we'll hand it over. What do you do to keep fit, Jonathan? Nothing. Anyway, move on.
Eat burgers.
Can I go next? Nothing. Next.
I climb mountains.
I've got a really physical job, you know. So I mean, I say 80% of the time I hit 10,000 steps before midday.
Jesus.
You know, there's very rarely do I not do kind of 12 to 13,000 steps in a day. But as I say, most of the time I'm hitting that before. I'm hitting 10,000 steps by around about midday. And there's a lot of stairs involved as well in the college. You're constantly kind of up and down. So I just use my job to keep fit. I think if I worked kind of office based, then I think I would probably need to do something. But doing what I do, I don't.
Well, I'm office based, and I do a lot of my walking from where my desk is to the canteen and back, and to the toilet and back. So I still do a lot of walking. I've done over 5,000 steps, which isn't quite 10,000.
To be honest with you, I mean, considering joking aside, though, I mean, yeah, 5,000 steps is what? It's only like 2.5 miles, isn't it? Really, I'm not being funny, but that's not nothing. No, but considering how fit you are. And the walking that you do, I would have thought really you would need to do a little bit more walking during the week to build up. You know,
I do.
Your strength.
I go for a local walk, which is about 4 or 5k every 2 days. If I did do that, then when I go to the lakes for my fail walking every 2 weeks, I really would suffer.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
But when I'm in the lakes, I do about 20k each time. And there's obviously a lot of ascent involved in that, you know, 1,100.
Which is really tough, you know. So that's what I was thinking, going from almost like office based and then going fell walking, that's a huge leap.
Yeah.
You know?
I've got to make sure I do something in between.
Yeah.
Can I just say I've done my 10,000. I've done 10,000
this year.
The 211 steps so far this week.
I thought you were going to say calories today.
So far this week. So yeah. Not great. Yeah. Sorry, carry on. But then I run up those fells, to be fair. I mean, when we go, I bound up.
You do, mate.
I
We
really
struggle
do.
to keep up with you.
You're quicker going down, though, aren't you? Especially when you fall over.
What I worked out, what I realised is on his vlogs when he's in slow motion, he hasn't actually slowed the footage down.
Yeah, it's 25 frames per second now.
I think my favourite thing from when we went to the Lake District was walking up Holm Fell, and Dave's like sort of walking along. I'm like, you can go if you want, Dave. And he's like, no, this is the pace I walk at. And I'm going, yeah, right. Yeah, right, you walk at this pace, Dave. Yeah, definitely. No, really. I'm like, Dave, you don't have to wait for me. No, this is definitely the pace I walk at. I'm like, okay.
Actually, no, I wasn't lying. Darren will tell you. I can kind of go all day, but at an extremely slow pace.
I don't think it's
I'm
Darren
quite
who should
slow.
be telling you that.
Well, no, because I've been out walking with him and he's witnessed it.
Yeah. No, Dave's, as you say, Dave will just keep going, at Dave's own pace. But I think Dave's got a great pace to go at. It's really enjoyable walking with Dave. It's not like you're trying to chase after anybody. You know, it's I love walking with Dave.
I mean, I do have a quite a strict daily regime. Every single morning, I get up at 5:30 and I jump straight on the rowing machine before I do anything. And I either do 3K or 5K, depending on what I'm going to be doing that day. And then I'll later on the day, usually in this time of year, I go out at 11 a.m. and walk around the lake, which is 2 miles. Or if I can't walk around the lake because the paths are flooded, because the levels are up, I'll take different routes. So anything between sort of 2 and 3.5 miles. And in the summer, I'll do that kind of 5-6 o'clock at night because it's light. In the summer, I'll also go out on my bike and do something between 7 and 9 miles weekdays, every single weekday. And then, of course, weekends I'm hiking. But if I don't go hiking, I'll then substitute the walk anyway. And then, like tonight, I jumped on the rowing machine, did another 5K about 4:30. And I got into that routine because of being diabetic and had to get fit. And it's paid off, you know. So I just got into habit. And once you're in the habit of it, the thought of missing a day, I feel guilty if I miss a day. So I've rowed just coming up 1,500 kilometres year to date. I'm trying to get through 1,500 kilometres for the end of the year.
I think it's important now, the older we get, that we do need to exercise. We need to, you know, make a point to be active. I really do. Because we all know, you know, that, perhaps not Mr. Burns, because he's only a slip of a frame. But, you know, the most of us, it's harder now to lose weight than it ever has been, you know. I mean, I know that I can put on weight just like that, you know, if I don't kind of watch what I'm eating. And then
I've been lucky. I've got a high metabolism.
That's what.
But having
I
said
mean,
that, since I'm 40, it's gone on my belly.
Has it?
Yeah, so I need to. But not only that,
You can really tell.
I'm sure you can. Well, I'm hiding it. It's
That's
intentional.
why the camera's up here, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, it's not always about fitness level. It's always about the feel-good factor as well. You know, you get your endorphins from exercise. You know, helps me along.
I found it was really hard to create the habit. And it is, you know, once you get it, it becomes ingrained in you, a habit, you know, like you wouldn't dream of going to bed without brushing your teeth, I hope. So once it became a habit, it was then easy, and it's psychologically easier to do it than not do it.
Yeah.
Because if I go a day where I don't close my activity rings on my Apple Watch, which actually I haven't this year to date, I've closed all 3 rings every single day. The thought of one day breaking that streak, I'd be stringing myself up.
I was just going to say that. You're obviously all talking about how many steps you've done, which presumably means you've all got some element of smartwatch to track that. Do you find that actually focuses your mind on doing the walks or doing the steps? And is it actually a real helpful tool to help you exercise and keep fit? Yeah, because I've not got one, but you know.
My watch buzzes at 10,000 steps, and
Mine's
I know
10 stairs.
Is it
10 flights of stairs, mine does.
Yeah, no, mine goes off at that as well. The elevation. So I think I've got three kind of alerts, but I do notice that if my watch doesn't vibrate, I am looking at it and think, where's them bloody 10,000 steps? I should have hit that.
Yeah,
by now.
I've got mine set to buzz to tell me, for example, you haven't moved in an hour, you've been sat at your desk, because I've got a very sedentary job. So at 10 to the hour, it buzzes and says, get up and walk around, you lazy bastard. Yeah. And so I go, oh, okay then, and I do. to be fair, this Apple Watch does a whole load of other stuff. You know, it runs my maps when I'm out hiking, and it you know, it's I'd be lost without it. I really would.
So do you get to a point where you go to bed and you look at your watch, you think, bugger, I'm 25 steps away from my closing my ring. So then you just get up and run around the house for 10 minutes before you go to bed.
No, I've gone to bed sort of 25 calories light and done some sit-ups just to close a ring.
Sorry.
You can't go to bed with an open ring. You can't do it.
I've never gone to bed with an open ring.
You can't. Sausage meat time again.
Well, when you're on the floor in your pants doing sit-ups, they think it's a bit of self-foreplay.
Your ring's like that. Yeah.
I gave my Apple Watch to my daughter. Fed up with having to charge it every night.
It's no effort. You just put it on the bedside.
but
You
I've
wake
got-
up, it's
I've got-
charged.
I've got one of these Casio G-Shock things, and it's a solar one. I don't even have to worry about it. So it's a pain in the backside. Apple
Well,
Watch.
that's the reason I've got this is a Garmin Instinct, and it's.
Yeah, I've got.
I intentionally haven't got the Apple Watch because of the battery. It takes, you get an Apple, it saps all the battery, but this does everything for me.
Yeah, and me.
When it dies, I'm going to get one Garmin.
Yeah, they're brilliant. It's one of them things, one of them kind of little gadgets now that if mine packed up tomorrow, I would have to go and reinvest because I just wear it every single day, especially when I'm hiking as well. Because as you say, I load all my maps on there, so it's good. As a navigation tool.
How long does the battery last, or is it solar?
Oh, about 5 days.
Easy.
If you're using it as a map, so then you could be charging it. If you're out for like 9 hours on a hike and you've got it running, tracking you, then I would need to charge.
16 hours. 16 hours. This needs charging after constant use.
What model have you got, James?
This is the Garmin Instinct.
Right. So I
On
do
sale at the
Garmin
moment.
products. I
Yeah.
do like Garmin products.
Yeah, really good.
I've had them fast. Yeah. When I used to hike, or wild camp, I should say.
But yeah, if you're just using it as a watch or a step counter, I mean, about 5 days for me before I have to charge it.
Does it tell you where the nearest McDonald's is as well?
Yes, it does. They've got maps on them.
Yeah.
Interested listener here. I switched off when they started talking about rings and steps, and I don't think my phone's broken because it's never buzzed.
And you've got an alarm for every hour. It's cheeseburger time.
It's Frey Bentos time.
Low calorie warning.
My phone literally goes apeshit in my pocket every time I drive past a Burger King.
Where are you going? Where are you going? It's behind you.
Yeah, you must turn around now.
I'll be dead soon, and you'll all be all right. So
The thing is, I had a mate who talked about this loads, and he said, "What are you actually saving yourself for the nursing home? He says, enjoy your life while you can." I think the key is his quality of life while you're here, not how long you're going to last.
yeah.
But what are you drinking there, mate? Because it looks like you're necking a bottle of red wine, Gary.
Me?
Oh.
Yeah,
It's,
massive.
do you know what? Do you know? It's really weird. I was looking at this. It's a Straya, but look at the neck on that. It's the thinnest neck on a large bottle I think I've ever seen.
How much is in it? 750 mil.
No, 660. I think it's the equivalent of 2 small bottles. I think so.
Right, looks like a bottle of wine.
Yeah, 660. Yeah, yeah. I've actually added sugar because it didn't taste.
Some chips down there.
I'm going to be like Anna in it. Yeah. So fitness is great.
Yeah, you're all grand.
Paul, you didn't say anything, Paul. What do? You kept a bit quiet there during that segment.
I used to be really fit, and then when my parents got ill, I didn't have time, and now I'm getting fit again. So I go mountain bike. I've got a 12-year-old lad, so I was out playing football with him today. The other day off school,
Cool,
the
sure.
training days, and then we go mountain biking and walking the dogs twice a day as well.
But I do think that's, landscape photography. I think that's a great way to keep fit, really.
Of course it is.
You're really putting...
Temple Norman will tell you all about it.
No, but I just think you do so much exercise when you're out.
Yeah.
You really do. You really do.
No.
As he necks another drink.
Wait a minute. Some of the pano.
I'm just
Oh,
Well, I think that's it for this week. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? Not all photographic, but yeah, very enjoyable. So we'll be back next week, indulging ourselves as per usual, and no doubt with some non-photography topics as well. Anyway, until then, we'll all see you later. So thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye 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 bye.